Vande Mataram student. Uh, let us learn about drainage system. As you know, this chapter is divided into two parts. One, we are going to learn about drainage system of northern India, mainly Himalayan rivers. In second part, we are going to learn about the peninsular rivers. That is our central highland, central India over onwards to South India side rivers. So first thing, we are coming to drainage. Now, what is drainage? The term drainage describes the river system of an area. Now, when you see in this physical map, you can see so many small streams, right? They are flowing in a different direction. They flow in different directions. Okay, you can see here the Chambal, then Son. All these are different stream. They are river actually. Here you can see in the stream, right? Flowing, and they come from a different direction. One is coming from north, one is coming from south, in different directions. You can see here, and they merge to a main river. And main river is actually formed by these different kind of streams only. Okay, and ultimately this main river, it drains into a lake or a sea or an ocean. So this is known as that particular river's drainage system. Okay, so we are going to learn about now drainage basin. What is drainage basin now? Drainage basin is area drained by particular river. Okay, that means that one river is from say central highland and passing through Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, then drainage basin of that area is Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. I hope this is clear to you. Now here there is another important topic, that is watershed. The boundaries of the basin are known as the watershed. Okay. Now each and every river basin has certain boundary. Okay. And that area is known as that boundary is known as the watershed. You can see here in this picture, right? This is watershed of this river basin. Okay. That means is that this basin is located between this boundary. In India, two things you need to remember for your learning purpose. Ambala is watershed between Indus river system and Ganga river system, and Western Ghat is watershed for the Central Highland rivers and Deccan rivers. Okay. So in India, as I told you earlier, we have two parts of river. One is Himalayan rivers and second is peninsular. Okay. And we have these two different kinds because of our relief feature. You can understand the rivers are basically based on the river relief features. Here is difference between Himalayan rivers and peninsular river. We will learn more about this once we complete this chapter. But this part is very important for your learning purpose. Okay, it's very commonly asked. What are the basic difference between Himalayan rivers and peninsular river? Then Himalayan rivers actually are originating from the Himalayan mountains. Most of the rivers, almost all rivers, are glacier originated. While peninsular rivers are actually originating from peninsular plateau and central highland. Now, Himalayan rivers are perennial, full of water because they are snow melting rivers, right? Glacier-based rivers, while peninsular rivers are seasonal rivers. They depend upon monsoon for their water. Okay. Himalayan rivers only make deltas. You know that Sundarban Delta is the largest delta in the world. Well, when you talk about the peninsular river, they form delta and they make estuaries also. We will learn when we will come to that part. Now, first is Indus River. Okay, this is Indus River. You are very well aware that India got its name from Indus River, right? Okay, India, Indus. You learned that in, I think, 6th standard. Indus River is originating from the Mansarovar Kailas. Okay, Kailas Mansarovar, you heard about that. Is originating from this area. From here onwards, is flowing to the west, Tibet. This entire part is Tibet. Entering into the Ladakh. Okay, India. Fine. And going to the Kashmir Valley. This area where my pen is located at the moment is POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir. Here it's passing through the all beautiful mountains of the Kashmir. Finally, is entering into the plains of Pakistan. Right? It's moving ahead. You can see that it's somewhere near Mithan Port. Okay. Its main tributaries like Chenab, Ravi, Jhelum, all these are originating from India. Jhelum is originating from here. Chenab is originating from Himachal Pradesh. Okay, Ravi is originating from Himachal Pradesh. Okay, Satluj is originating from Himachal Pradesh. From Himachal Pradesh, they move to Punjab, India, and then they move to Punjab, Pakistan, and finally they merge with Indus at the Mithan Port. Okay, and here onwards, river flow down to the south, and finally this Indus River is merging to the Arabian Sea, Bay of Arabian Sea, not Bay of Bengal, at Karachi Port, very near from Karachi. Okay, and it's very near from Kutch of India also. It's almost, if I'm not mistaken, its distance is not more than 10 to 12 nautical distance. Clear about this? So, in brief, Indus River rises in Tibet near Lake Mansarovar. You can see in this slide. Main tributaries are Chenab, Satluj, Jhelum, Ravi, and Beas. You can see here these rivers also, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas. All of them are originating from the Himachal Pradesh. One, Jhelum is originating from Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir. And finally meeting to the Indus at Mithan Court. And total length of Indus is 2,900 kilometers. Now, there is something called Indus Water Treaty. I explained you during learning class also. That is very important. Now, India has only 1/3 control on Indus water as per this treaty. I request all of you to search in Google about this treaty, that is Indus Water Treaty. Now we are coming to the another important river, and that is Ganga river system. Okay, Ganga is very important river for our own civilization. You might have heard that our civilization is known as Ganga Jamuna Tezi. Okay, its Ganga is originating from Gangotri Glacier. Gaumukh, this is whatever you are seeing here is origin point of the Ganga river, Gaumukh. Okay, this is origin point of Ganga river. This, okay, Gaumukh. There, this river is known as the Bhagirathi. Okay, so you need to understand headwaters of Ganga is known as Bhagirathi. Okay, and it's originating from the Gaumukh. But when Ganga moves ahead, okay, at Devaprayag, this area is Devaprayag, where two rivers are meeting each other. It's joined by Alaknanda. It is at Uttarakhand, this place. From here onwards, Ganga moved ahead, and at Haridwar, it emerged from the mountain to the plains. Here you can see the picture of Dev-Prayag and Haridwar, both. Now, Ganga moves. Now come and look at this bed. From there onwards, Haridwar onwards, Ganga covered entire UP. And finally, it is reaching to the end of Bihar and beginning of the West Bengal. That area is Farakka. It's in West Bengal. You can see here this area. At Farakka, this river Ganga divides into two channels. One is Hooghly. You can see here Hooghly. I'm marking out. And another is Padma. Okay. So Padma is going to Bangladesh, Hooghly is entering into the West Bengal, and all of you are aware that Kolkata is located on the banks of river Hooghly. You can see here that famous bridge of Calcutta. So at Farakka, which is at beginning of the West Bengal, ending of the Bihar, on the border of Bihar and Bengal, Ganga rivers divide into two parts. One is Hooghly, which is going to the West Bengal. Another is Padma, which is entering into the Bangladesh. And finally, these both parts of the Ganga are meeting to the Bay of Bengal and creating world's largest delta. River Padma, when it moves into the Bangladesh, here Brahmaputra also meets River Padma, and then onwards is known as Meghna. Okay, I hope up till now it is clear to you. So here is the Ganga river route. Pay attention. Here I am marking out this route with yellow color because already blue color is there, so you won't get confused. Ganga is originating as a Bhagirathi from the Gangotri glacier. Another parts of Ganga, that is Alaknanda, is originating somewhere near from the Kedarnath. Both parts are meeting somewhere near Dev-Prayag. After that, Ganga is entering into the plain, that is Haridwar onwards. Move ahead in the Uttar Pradesh. At Allahabad, the another mighty river Yamuna, which is originating from the Yamunotri river, flowing parallel to the Gangas, passing from New Delhi, Agra, Kanpur, merging to the meeting to the river Ganga at Allahabad. This is known as a Triveni Sangam. You might be aware about it. Here onwards, Ganga moves towards the Varanasi, that is eastern part of the UP, moving towards the Patna, that is Bihar, and finally at Farakka. Okay, you can see here, it's in West Bengal, Bihar border. It's divided into two channels. One is known as Hooghly, which is going towards the Calcutta. Calcutta is on the bank of Hooghly, and finally meeting to the Bay of Bengal. Another part which is known as Padma at Dhaka, Brahmaputra meets that Padma. Here onwards is known as Meghna, and finally it is also meeting to Bay of Bengal and creating world largest delta, that is Sundarban Delta. In Ganga's route, the many tributaries are meeting Ganga. Many of Ganga's tributaries are glacier-fed tributaries, like Ghagra, which is originating from the Tibet, Nepal and Himalaya ke piche wale parts. Okay. Gomti is another mighty river. Okay. Gandak, which is also flowing from the Nepal Himalayas. Kosi, which is also originating from the Nepal Himalayas. Okay, right? These tributaries, these Himalayan tributaries of Ganga are carrying huge water because they are glacier-based river. And because of that, Ganga and its Himalayan tributaries have made this Uttar Pradesh, upper part of the Madhya Pradesh and Bihar, very fertile place for the agriculture purpose. There are peninsular tributary of Ganga also, like Son, you can see here, okay, Chhattisgarh, then Betwa, which is merging to Yamuna, and finally Yamuna is merging to Ganga, so it's a tributary of Ganga. Chambal, right? These are peninsular tributary of Ganga. Now, peninsular tributary of Ganga is carrying less water compared to the Himalayan tributary. I hope this is clear to you. We are moving ahead now. Our next slide is about the Sundarban Delta. This is a satellite picture of Sundarban Delta. You can see this, full of water channels. Okay. The Sundarban Delta is famous for Bengal tigers and Sundari trees. Okay. Ganga has another very important features. It creates meanders. Okay. Ganga river's water flow is too much and it's full of sediments and slates. So it cannot move in this simple straight channel. It takes curves and make meanders. Okay. It's worldwide famous for making meanders. And it's create Oxbow Lake also by what you call doing meander, it's create Oxbow Lake. This is known as Oxbow Lake. Okay, all these things making Ganga plain very fertile and very important for the agriculture purpose. You are very well aware about that. Here are the features of Ganga river. Okay, let me read it out first. The headwaters of Ganga, called the Bhagirathi, is fed by the Gangotri Glacier. Ganga flows eastward till Farakka in West Bengal, which is the northernmost point of the Ganga Delta. Length of Ganga is 2,500 kilometers. River Ganga with River Brahmaputra forms world largest Sundarban Delta. Ganga joined by many tributaries. Few of them are itself big rivers such as Yamuna, Ghagra, Gandak, the coast. Yamuna flows parallel to the Ganga as a right bank tributary and meets the Ganga at Allahabad. There are left bank but a peninsular tributary also. Son, Tamsa, Yamuna. Haridwar is the place where Ganga rivers leaves the mountains to enter the plain. Well, the Ganga river has very big importance in India's culture and India's tradition. You are very well aware about this point. Our major religious centers are located on the bank of river Ganga. The Brahmaputra rises in Tibet, is top Mansarovar, very near from the Indus and Satluj source. Look, Brahmaputra is rises from here, Mansarovar. Okay, here onwards Indus is rising. Okay, very near from that area. Fine, but Indus is going towards the west, while Brahmaputra is going towards the east. It's slightly longer than Indus, and most of the coast of Brahmaputra lies outside India. It flows eastward parallel to the Himalayas. Namcha Barwa is a place where the river Brahmaputra takes U-turn and enters into the India at Arunachal Pradesh. Now, Brahmaputra in Tibet is known as Sangpo. It's known as Sangpo. Okay, you can see here very well. It is taking U-turn and entering into the India. Well, this river Brahmaputra carries large volume of the water, right? And considerable amount of slates creates many riverine islands. Majuli is the largest riverine island created by Brahmaputra. You can see here Majuli. Okay, it's world largest riverine island. Brahmaputra also creates widespread devastation due to the floods in Assam and Bangladesh. Now, this river has also tendency to shift its channel frequently. This is one of the biggest, what we call, characteristic of Brahmaputra that it shifts its channel. And because of that, it creates lots of devastation also. Okay. You can see here pictures of the devastation. Assam flood recently, before 15 days ago. Assam was flooded by the river Brahmaputra. And you are aware that Kaziranga, Manas are the two wildlife sanctuaries which are located in Assam. These wildlife sanctuaries were also flooded by the Brahmaputra river. And you can see here casualties of wild animals as well as humans. So, now main features of Himalayan river before we stop this video. First, Himalayan rivers have a large basins. Compared to peninsular river, Himalayan rivers have large basins. Many of them make spectacular journeys. Indus, when it enters into the Ladakh, okay, beautiful. Okay, they are perennial in nature because they are snow-faded rivers, so they are going to be perennial. Okay, they perform intensive erosional activities, carry large amount of load of sand and slits. It's passing from many mountains. Okay, so this is going to happen. In plains, they form large meanders due to the gentle slope. Here they have written scarp, it's slope. They form numerous depositional features like floodplain, river bobs, reefs, etc. So student, here our video of Himalayan river is completed. After 2 days, you will be having another video that is going to be about peninsular rivers and importance of lakes and river in human life or in country's economy. Both the things, not all and. Okay? Till then, goodbye.